Good afternoon, everybody. This is Pat Walker, Mission Winners, making a video overview of the ETFs. Why are we looking at the ETFs? It's not that we like to look at a million different charts. We have a limited amount of money and a limited amount of time. We want to use both assets wisely. By looking at the ETFs, it gives us a good idea of what the leading ETFs are, where we could possibly find leading stocks in those groups, or areas to avoid. Both sides are very relevant to making money. Things to consider, but also stuff to stay away from. Most people don't know what to stay away from. We try to show here too. So let's just take it from the top. This is done by alphabetical order, so it's not by percent rank or anything like that. This is robotics. This is weekly on the left, daily on the right. In 1 second, it tells you the trend is down, just leave it alone. Oh, it might bottom here. I don't want to play the might game. We're looking to stack the deck in our favor. Strength begets strength. We key on that at Mission Winners. Let's move on here, and I'll go relatively quickly for you here. All right, and you can see cloud computing still sloppy. It's below the falling 50-day. There's not a lot of power here. Be careful with cloud computing stocks. Diamonds lagging. The Dow is lagging. Leave it alone right now. Dow Jones Internet. It's not much power there below the 50-day. This green line is the 50-day moving average line, and it's a great moving average to use. And I said this at the IBD meetups for years. The air is better above the 50-day moving average line. The air is better above a rising 50-day moving average line. There you go. IBD 50. Look at this. There's not much power here in the IBD 50. I'm not criticizing investors daily, and I'm not criticizing the IBD 50. No, I'm just saying they're great leading stocks, but there's still not a lot of power there. So just got to be a little cautious there. First Trust, Dorsey Wright, lagging, not a lot of power in that group there. China's lagging. Look at this. Look at this decline. Below the falling 50-day, that's the green moving average. Just leave it alone. Be careful with Chinese stocks. Done. I need to pause here and share something. I don't think we're getting political. No, none of that stuff. Separate politics with investing, all right? You'll be better for it. I'm not saying ignore politics, but focus on the charts. Gold miners, nothing good, move on. Gold, nothing good, move on. Biotechnology, lagging, move on. Oil and gas, well, that one's kind of hanging in, isn't it? Look at the compare and contrast. Like, that doesn't look so good. Oh, that doesn't look so bad. So what does this tell you? Look at the weekly. It said, maybe look into some energy stocks, oil and gas stocks. Here's a great tactic for you. You can punch up IEO and find out their top 10 holdings. It'll take you all of probably, 10 seconds to do that. And maybe there's some candidates there. It's trending, support on the 21-day moving average line. The blue line's the 21 exponential. So just something maybe to watch in the energy group. And I do like the volume that came into it on Friday. Technology lagging below the 50-day. There's just not a lot of power there, folks. This is a bearish engulfing bar. Be careful with those. That's a good lesson for you. Move on here. Medicine. Yeah, I think they need medicine. Look at that. It needs a shot. Okay, that's enough of the dad humor, right? You got to have fun here too. Take this seriously, but have fun with it. All right? Things are better for us when we do that. Medicine, it's in a downtrend. Isn't that good to know? You said, well, there's no money going to be made there. You know what's the beautiful part? It also tells us an area to avoid. We narrow our focus. Looking for strength, looking for weakness. Nothing there. Let's move on. Mid-cap. S&P mid-cap, lagging, leave it alone. Aerospace and defense, lagging, leave them alone. Home construction, lagging. Look at this. This has been a great run for us. We own some home building stocks, Kaufman and Broadhome, Pulte Homes. They made huge moves, but look at what it's doing now. It's rolling over. And it was telling you, look at the decline here on volume. I said this for years at the meetups. Right there, people talk with their mouths and vote with their pocketbooks. We watch where they're voting. They voted here and they were selling. And they voted here and sold more. It's below the 50-day, leave it alone. Nothing to do with it. That's simple. And you know what's really neat about that? That's a group now you don't need to look at. It narrows our focus. I will tell you something, team. This is for everybody. I would rather know 5 to 10, maybe 15 groups really well, or 10 to 20 stocks really well, than look at that know 50 that I just kind of know them so-so. No, we got to, we were given this money, right? And we earned it. We want to be a good steward of it. So There you go. Be careful with that. Small caps lagging. Look, it's below the falling 50-day. Green line, 50-day. Stay away. Done. Dow Jones Real Estate lagging. Below the falling 50-day. Leave it alone. Done. Transportation below the 50-day. 50-day is still rising, but there's no power there. Leave it alone. Done. Airlines. Look at this. I think this is a great ticker symbol. Jets. I mean, isn't that cool? Look at the decline here. And it was telling you back here. Look at the selling. Look at the reversal bar there. Bearish engulfing bar. Then it falls again. Then it rallies up on decreasing volume. And then it drops again on a pickup. It was telling you, hey, we're selling. Look at the gap down in the volume. Just reading the charts. And it's not fancy. It's not magical. It's just looking at price and volume. There's nothing to do with it. Leave it alone. Regional banking, nothing to do with them. Leave them alone. Mid-cap still lagging. Be careful with mid-cap stocks. Oil services, that one's not looking too bad. Maybe it'll get a lift. But it needs some real power over the 21-day moving average line. Until that happens, be careful with energy. Pharmaceuticals, now that doesn't look too bad. All right, it's hanging in it, but there's not a lot of accumulation in here recently. Okay, so be careful with that. But it looks better than some of the others. All right, maybe some drug stocks. QLD, it's below the 50-day, but it had a higher low setup on Friday. All right, that's a potential plus. This low is higher than this low, and this is the key variable for everybody. It did it on a big pickup in volume. Maybe there's a setup there, but it also tells us something else. Maybe some of the big NASDAQ stocks, the big MAXLIST NASDAQ stocks, maybe they're going to turn a corner here. I said maybe. I don't know for sure, but this is good price volume relationship here on heavy volume. Good buying. Something to take into consideration. Continue onwards. QQQ is the same thing, but I like QLD better. Retailing. What does that say? It tells you in 1 second, stay away from retailing stocks. You're done. There's nothing to do with it. Leave it alone. Isn't that great? See, this is why I do this at Mission Winners, is to speed up the learning curve on what to look for. Folks, I tell you, when I started this, there was no internet, okay? Electricity had just been invented. Just kidding, with my good buddy Tommy Edison. All right, I'm horsing around. No, the idea, speed up the learning curve on what to look for both potential to buy, but also what to look for things to avoid. Stuff to stay away from. Continue onwards. Here we go. Steel, kind of basing, needs to show some real power across here. SLX. Lifting off the 50-day. There's not a lot of volume coming into it, so I'd be cautious there too. All right, semiconductors, it's loose, folks. I mean, look at this bar. Well, this is it, it's going. This thing gaps up and drops like a rock. Be careful chasing gap ups. That's serious selling on that bar with volume. Semiconductors too loose, be careful with them, okay? S&P 500, potential higher low, as I talked about with QLD and QQQ. You can see that with a slight volume pickup. That's nice to see. And you can see it on SSO too, with a volume pickup. By the way, you see I already have a price alert set on it? I'll drop that just a little bit. There we go. That doesn't look too bad. What does it show us? It's telling us maybe, I'm not saying it did, maybe there's a higher low setup here that could lead to an advance in prices. It is a higher low setup, but now we need to see follow through. And it is below the 50-day, so you still have to be a little cautious with it. Continue onwards. Solar. There's nothing here, folks. Oh, this might be the bottom. I don't want to play the mic game. Remember this. This is for everybody. Strength begets strength. Look for strength. It'll help you. There's nothing here. Let's move on. Small caps lagging. Leave them alone. Uranium. That's picking up a little bit. It's kind of a unique group, though. All right? I mean, it's uranium. I just kind of be aware of that. But the ETF doesn't look too bad with uranium. There we go. Oil services, U.S. oil, it's hanging in. It's okay. It's, support on the 21-day. Maybe take a look into some oil services. Consumer discretionary, below the 50-day, there's nothing there. Leave it alone. Aerospace and defense, below the 50-day, there's nothing there. Leave it alone. Biotechnology, stay away. That's it. Look at the daily chart. It's falling down below the falling 50-day. There's very little accumulation distribution. This is power for us. There's groups to maybe consider, but there's also say to yourself, hey, I don't need to consider this group at all. That narrows our focus on what remains. There's nothing there. Move on. Here we go. Home building was great. What a great run. You see the weekly? We had, I think, 5 or 6 home building stocks, and it worked out extremely well. Starts to roll over, starts to lose the power, and you can see, look at the red. Oh, there's a red. Oh, this is nice. It's steadily going up, not a lot of red. Oh, there's a red bar there. Oh, there's another red bar. Oh, there's a couple of green bars, but they're less than the red bars. Oh, it fell again. Okay, didn't close bad on that bar. Oh, there's another selling bar. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at this. It lost the 21-day moving average, the blue line. Oh, look, it did it on a pickup in volume. Oh, it's falling on heavier volume. Oh, look, it's falling on heavier. They were selling it, and you saw it. I'll do this for you. This will help you. There you go. Oh, that's okay. That's a little less. Oh, it lifted up. Volume was a little less than it fell on. Oh, reversed down on a pickup in volume. Got to be careful. Oh, look at that. It lost the 21-day on a pickup in volume. Folks, admission winners, that's what we do. And it's not fancy. That's the best part. Oh, gee whiz. Look at that. That's not Aunt B selling. Okay, that's serious. And it tells you, stay away. There you go. Building and materials, how do you build things? Well, you need materials. Home building slipping, this is too, stay away. Communication services, nothing powerful there. Energy, kind of basing, all right, not the best thing in the world. Financials, look at this. This isn't the best setup, team, okay? High or low, but not a lot of power. You got to be cautious with that. Continue onwards. Industrials, yeah, slight pickup, but still not a lot of power. Technology, not a lot of power there either. All right, be cautious with it. Consumer staples, leave them alone. Leave it. There's nothing there. Just, there's nothing to see here. Move on. All right. Healthcare, yeah, it's a little loose. I mean, look at the whipping around here. Not really clean and simple. Just be a little cautious there. Consumer discretionary, stay away. Done. Nothing to do with it. Metals and mining, lost the 50-day, no power, leave it alone. Oil, kind of hanging in. Energy, kind of hanging in there. Potential. Retail. You know, I just showed you at least 2 different consumer-related ETFs. And what were they doing, folks? They're falling. They're falling. And here's further reinforcement. Retail. Look at that. Look at the drop. That tells you a lot. Stay away from retail stocks. Move on. Software. Boy, there's not much power in software, is there? Be cautious with that. So now let's look into and you know what, the MAXLIST stocks. Apple has a higher low setup on the daily, okay? Note here, it's below a falling 50-day. Just be careful with that. I used to say this at the IBD meetup for years, all right? The air is better above a rising 50-day moving average line. So it is a higher low and perhaps will lift. Also note, sorry about that, also note the volume wasn't heavy that there on this bar, okay? We'd like heavier volume. Continue onwards. Amazon, higher low from here and here, but this is a lower low. This low is lower than this low, right? So it's not as powerful. Compare and contrast. This low is higher than this low. This low is lower than this low. It found support on the 50-day. Okay, I'm going a little slower here because this is important. Markets have been in a rough spot here, folks, and I hope you have not forced buys, all right? Just because the market's open for business doesn't mean you need to do business. Wait for the right setups. Lower low, lifted volume, yeah, a little bit less. Needs to really show some power off the 50-day. And maybe it will. Takes out Friday's highs on really good volume. Potential setup. Riskier setup though. Alibaba, this is just sloppy. There's nothing really great here. Move on. Okay, this is sloppy too. All right, sloppy. Rallies on decreasing volume, nothing to do with it. There's better fish to fry. Continue onward. Google, this is like the poster child of the market. Look what this did. Gaps up, looks like it's going. On Thursday, this is it, and then they take it right back down. On a volume pickup. It's loose right now. It needs to base out here, okay, and take off. Perhaps across these tops. But for right now, this is kind of loose. Be careful with it. Goldman Sachs, in 1 second, it says it's in a downtrend, leave it alone. Don't overthink it. It's below a falling 50-day. I said this, like I said, the meetups, IBD meetups, the air is better above a rising 50-day moving average line. I mean, look at how responsive it was here. Look at the volume setup right here, folks. Price and volume. Bouncing off the 50-day on a pickup in volume, right here. And there's the 50 and there's the 8. Bouncing off the 8, 50's right here, and it's off to the races. Does this look very good here? No, it doesn't. So just move on. MasterCard now has clean tops right here on the weekly and the daily. And note this, in a pretty crummy market, this actually moved up on the weekly with a slight pickup in volume. So what do you look for here? Well, right there, going across these tops. So what could be this setup? Pushing across these tops with a big pickup in volume, and the most important constraint, the market's okay. Market's acting okay. Meta was a rocket ship for us. Here's the weekly chart. Things like this can change your life, all right? And that was a great trend. Look at the trend up see this? The trend up the 8-period exponential weekly. That's why I look at weekly and daily. It really helps us. Now it finally lost it, and we're out. Notice how loose it is here now. Loose bars, wide range bars, are indicative of high investor emotions. Be careful with that. It's really whipping around. There's really nothing to do with it, okay? There's better fish to fry. Leave it alone for now. Microsoft, and this is again why we're very careful. Oh, it's gapping up. This is it. I mean, look, Friday. You know, it's kind of sloppy and everything. Oh, look at oh, here we go. Everything, we're on, all systems are go. And you buy that gap up, and you know, you have a problem. Look at what it did that day. It's just slopping around right now. Again, it needs to base out and take out the highs of this bar, which will also coincide most likely with taking out the 50-day moving average line. But for right now, this is sloppy. Be careful with that. Nothing to do with it. Continue onward. Netflix is choppy, sloppy, nothing to do with it. Look at the weekly though, by the way. We talk about weekly basis. Look at this weekly back in May. And look at that trend. You could say, Pat, could you show that to me? And again, this is in May. Could you show that to me on the daily? Well, sure I can. Watch this. I'll shrink it so you can see it. There you go. What do you have here, folks? You got a weekly cup and a handle. Weekly cup and a handle. Daily cup and a handle. All right, weekly base. Daily cup and a handle, excuse me. Lift right there. Look at the volume pickup on that bar. This was on the key list for buy, and it was. And I don't know about you, but that's a pretty good run. There we go. Is there anything to do with it now? Well, let's take a look. And again, my goal is not just to give ideas, it's to educate on what to look for. See what this did on Thursday? Gaps up and reverses and closes near the lows on heavy volume. They sold into that sucker. Be careful with it. It's too loose right now. Loose charts are indicative of high investor emotions, and high investor emotions are not conducive to good investing tactics. Just share that with you. Now here's Tesla. Now it's below the 50-day, but I like this little shelf that's forming right here. And what do you note about it? You could say, well, there's some red in here. Oh, yeah, some green's coming into this now. Maybe across these tops here. Notice I said a very important word, maybe. One of the things that I'll never do is say, oh, this is going to go. No, that's arrogant. High arrogance is not conducive to good investing. Clouds thinking and judgment. But you can see the space here. Perhaps it'll take off. What's it need? It needs good volume and a good market. There you go. And note, it's below the falling 50-day. That makes it tougher. Be aware of that. Here's a beautiful thing I like about clean and simple basis. Price is good above the line and bad below. You could buy this if it has good price and volume action. It lifts off, but it starts falling below that line. Okay, you could sell some. No day trading. I'm not wrapped into day trading, but we control risk. There you go. Does that mean, Pat, you've never bought anything and sold it the same day to limit losses? No, I'll sell the same day. I'm not day trading, but I'm here to make money. And part of making money is keeping losses very small. And this is something that you will find. The best stocks, this is a weekly, the best stocks just push away. It's beautiful. And most times they're coming from a clean and simple flat base. Visa, now here's another one. What's Visa's sister stock? MasterCard, right? So you can see this base right here. Look at that. By the way, you can't catch me in a lie. You already see that little green hash mark? Yeah, I already have a price alert put on it. There you go. That's it. There's a little telltale sign for you. Yeah, I'm ready. I'll drop it down here a bit. This is another valuable lesson for everybody. Don't set your price alerts at the pivot. This is the real world, folks. Do not set your price alert at the pivot price. Set it a little bit below there. Why? It hits this, if it hits the pivot, the buy spot, and the thing's running fast, you're going to pay up too much. If you have it set a little lower, I'll drop it a little bit lower. Let's suppose on Monday or Tuesday, and I'm not saying it's going to, but it hits this price. Oh, you can look at the, price alert goes off. You look at it and say, oh yeah, that looks pretty good here on the daily. Let me take this down to the hourly or 30. Oh, there's some volume coming into this. This is good. Gosh, if it takes out these tops, I'll be looking for volume. I think I might buy some. That's it. And did you notice? It's not being frantic. It's not, okay, it's hitting that pivot price. I'll tell you what, let's go look at this real fast. No, we don't want to do that. We're looking at it before it hits the pivot to see how it's acting and watching if indeed price and volume confirms as it hits the pivot. You've got the order keyed up and you buy it. There you go.
Thank you for watching the video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit like. Maybe hit that subscribe button. We come up with new content nearly every day. Also, check out the videos on the right. YouTube recommends the one on the top, and the bottom one is something we thought you might enjoy. See you next time.